No matter what your playstyle is like in Wuchang Fallen Feathers, there is absolutely going to be a weapon for you. So I'm going to go through every single weapon that you can find inside of Wuchang Fallen Feathers and the time inside of the game of where you can actually find that weapon. Let's get into it. Now, at the very beginning of the game, as soon as you leave the Reverend Temple, you are eventually going to come across the boatman who is sitting next to the fire right behind a closed gate. All you have to do is interact with the boatman, go through the cutscene that he's going to initiate with you as you start talking to him, and once you're done with the little cutscene and the events that follow with it, the door behind where the boatman was will open up. Now, as soon as you get outside of this door, you're going to be able to see a body with a golden item on it. You want to interact with that golden item, and it's going to be the Halberd, which is going to be the first different weapon you'll come across inside of the game, outside of the starting longsword that you're given. This is going to be the first of many axes that you'll come across inside of this game. Next weapon is going to be the Red-Tasseled spear. What you want to do is continue through this first region outside of the Reverend Temple. You're going to eventually come across the Buddhist Hills, and inside of a cave is going to be a small mini-boss that you need to defeat. Once you're done defeating that mini-boss, you want to continue forward on the very obvious forward path until it splits to going down on the left side or to the right to a small camp. Inside of this small camp on the right side, at the very end of this small camp, you're going to come across a body. On that body is actually going to be a set of armor in addition to the Red-Tasseled spear. Moving forward from where we just got the Red-Tasseled spear, you want to continue until you come across this small town. Inside of this small town, you'll be ambushed by a bunch of different enemies, but around the fire, you're going to see a table with another golden glowing item. That golden glowing item is going to be the Dark Frost Edge. This is going to be your first one-handed sword that you can find inside of the game. Continuing even further into the game, you want to actually go and find the Panda Shop. To actually do this, you need to progress the game until you start moving towards the Shoe Sanctum. Once you cross the river, you want to go to the right side and go all the way to the end of the path that I will be showing you. Inside of the end of this path, you'll see a small cave where you can interact with the storyteller and also the Panda Shop. Now, you'll be able to get some bamboo shoots by killing Bamboozlings, or if you talk to the storyteller, you'll be able to get a bamboo shoot from him, because that's the currency that you need to use in the Panda Shop to actually get this next spear. Now, the Panda Shop will expand as you progress through the game, though you won't get any new weapons from him as you progress through the game. So if you want to get this particular spear that I'm about to show you inside of the shop, this is the best time to go and get it. The spear is called the Steampowered spear, and it only requires one bamboo shoot, so you can just interact with the storyteller to easily get this spear. The next weapon that we're going to come across is going to be the Unequilibrium blade. It's going to be your first set of dual blades that you can find inside of the game. From here, you want to progress until you come across the Shoe Temple, and basically go until you see the invisible bridge right underneath the broken awning. You'll be able to tell it's an invisible bridge because you're going to see those little glowing stones that indicate that there is something there, you just can't see it. Now, as soon as you cross the invisible bridge, you're going to come across this house on the left side. Take the stairs down and you're going to see a glowing item next to one of the enemies that's scavenging through a broken cart. You're going to be attacked by a couple different enemies at the same time, but the item that we're going after is that golden item on the ground in the middle of the fighting area. As you probably guessed, that golden item is going to be these Unequilibrium blades. Again, this is going to be the first time you'll come across some dual blades inside of the game. Now, the next weapon we're going to go after is actually a favorite that a lot of people use inside of this game, simply because of the different builds that people have come up while using this axe. Personally, I played with a longsword. That's how I like to play inside of this game, but this is entirely up to you. I'm just letting you know ahead of time. From the Shoe Sanctum, you want to follow the path that I am going to be showing you and make your way through the bamboo forest and through the village that is next to the bamboo forest. Now, you can get to the bamboo forest in multiple different ways, and eventually you're going to come across a shortcut that I will be using that's going to be right next to an enemy that throws a lot of fire towards you. This is just a normal progression of this region where you unlock those shortcuts to help you get here a little faster in case you die progressing this area. Now, once you make it to the courtyard where that fire enemy is, you want to stick to the right side and go all the way down until you see a house that you can enter into that allows you to get to the top of the houses. Follow those scaffoldings all the way back over the roofs and the scaffoldings until you can look back into that large area where that fire enemy was. You should be able to see on a large sloped house that was above the fire enemy a golden item. That golden item is going to be the Empyrean axe. Again, this is an axe that a lot of people seem to favor inside of this game. It may work for you depending on how you like to play the game, but again, I'm letting you know that a lot of people have good guides on how to use this axe with a couple different abilities you get inside of the game. Something to think about. Next, we are going to come across the Firearm blades. You have to go through another shortcut around the Shoe Sanctum, which is easy to open up as long as you're exploring this large area. All you really have to do is go around the Shoe Sanctum, up a cliffside, and then back back down to where you can come across this shortcut to open up your way to the palace, which again is something that will happen later on as you just play through this game. All you want to focus on is coming across this specific alleyway. What you're going to see in this alleyway is a bunch of the smaller enemies, and you're actually going to see a golden item all the way at the end of this hallway. As soon as you get close, you are going to get jumped by several of the smaller enemies, so be prepared. That golden item at the end of the hallway, that alleyway, is going to be the Firearm blades, another set of dual blades that you can test out in the game for yourself. Progressing through Worship's Rise, you're eventually going to come across the Mercury Workshop. This next item is going to be the Lashing Whip Longsword. This is the sword that I personally used throughout the rest of the game after I got it. So from the fast travel point from the Mercury Workshop, follow the pathing that I'm showing you, because you can very easily get lost and drop down a couple levels in this area, but simply go to the other side of the giant pillar in the middle. You'll see a couple long range enemies with rifles, and next to them inside of some purple mist is going to be that Lashing Whip Longsword. Now for me, it's Lashing Whip +3 simply because I upgraded the longswords inside of my skill tree, but here are the stats for this particular longsword. This next weapon you cannot miss because it is behind a boss that you have to defeat to progress through the game. This is going to be the Bandit Camp boss. I'm not going to spoil anything more, just know that when you defeat them, you are going to get the Astral Sword, which is another one-handed sword. Here are the stats for this particular one-handed sword if you have not defeated this boss yet, and you like to use one-handed swords, you know what you can look forward to. Moving into the Cloudspire region, the second region of the game, you want to progress until you come across the Cloudspire Outskirts fast travel point. From here, I want you to follow the pathing that I'm going to be showing you, because we're going after another spear. Now thankfully, you'll probably come across this spear all on your own, because you have to go up the tower that we are currently in all the way to the top to help progress this region. Anyway, you have to light a bonfire at the very top of this tower. Right at the top of this tower, you're also going to see a small chest that is right next to the fire that you just lit to progress the game. Obviously, all you have to do is open up that chest and you'll be able to get the Gunpowder spear. Here are the stats for the Gunpowder Spear in case you missed it and you want to go back and use it as your spear throughout your playthrough. Next weapon that we're going to be going after is called the Twin Blades. As you may guess, it is another set of dual blades. You want to progress through Cloudspire until you come across your second corrupted pillar. From here, you want to go over to the left side where you're going to see a forked path. You want to take the path on the right through the giant wooden door. From here, you want to stick on the right side, and eventually you're going to come across an enemy in a small corner that's going to start shooting a cannon at you. Defeat this enemy, who is going to be a red-eyed enemy, because behind that enemy is going to be a chest with another golden item inside of it, and as you guessed it, that is going to be the dual blades that we are looking for. Here are the weapon stats for that particular set of dual swords that we were just going after in case you want to use them. Staying inside of the Cloudspire area, you're eventually going to come across the Bandit Camp, which is going to be, instead of going to the right side where we got the twin bandit blades, you're going to go to the left side where you're going to come across that Bandit Camp. At the very end of this Bandit Camp, you'll come across giant wooden doors that lead you into a boss arena. Defeat that boss and you're going to get another longsword that is going to be called Flambringer. This is going to be an optional boss. You do not have to defeat him to progress through the game, so you can definitely miss this particular longsword. This is going to be a very fun location to show you, and also a fun weapon to get at the same time. Progress through the game until you come across Snowfall Palace. Trust me, it'll be very obvious when you're in front of the palace. Get yourself inside of the palace and you're going to see an elevator that you can go up by hitting the button. What you want to do is quickly hit the button, then jump off to find a smaller version of the elevator that brings you into the basement underneath that elevator. Once you're down here, you're going to be very obviously inside of a treasure room. Now we're going to be focusing on going to a particular small box that is going to have a gold item inside of it. That is actually going to be the weapon that we're looking for inside of this small box. Be warned, you will be attacked by a demon before you can open this box. Another one-handed sword called the Boreal Abyss, I'm probably butchering the name, will be inside of this box. It is going to be a little bit more interesting to use, but I'll let you find that out as you get it for yourself. Now the only other time you're going to come across a new weapon inside of the second region of the game of Cloudspire is after you have defeated the final boss of this region inside of the Wedding Hall. Once you have defeated this boss, it will automatically drop for you and go in your inventory. This particular weapon is going to be another set of dual blades called Bitter Severance. It is going to be the weapon that the boss used, just to give a little bit of a spoil. Now the next thing that I found most interesting is that you won't come across a brand new weapon inside of the third region region of Mount Zhanlu until you come across the mini-boss for the Zhanlu Antechamber. You have to defeat this mini-boss to progress through the game anyway, and when you defeat him, he will give you the Thunder's Call, which is another set of dual blades. You probably won't come across this boss until halfway through this region, which is why I find it interesting that this is the first time that you get a new set of weapons inside of the third region. Thankfully, the next time we come across a new weapon is pretty much immediately after you defeat this particular boss inside of the Zhanlu Antechamber, so you're going to be able to get up onto the rooftop simply by going past the boss arena and up some stairs. Obviously, from there, you're going to move forward and progress the mission in the region until you come across this second tower in this first set of stairs. Ignore the stairs and go around and follow the pathing that I'm going to be showing you, because we have to go further inside of this particular tower, down more stairs into a broken area where you are going to have to fight two enemies at once. Once you go and defeat these two enemies, you'll see at the very back of this particular room that you've slid down into is another box. Inside of this box is going to be a brand new spear called Cloudpiercer. Here are the stats for that weapon if you are curious at all of the location of this particular weapon. Obviously, you can easily miss this. Now, the next weapon that we can find in the third region is very easy to get. Progress the game until you come across the Pavilion of Knowledge. From here, you want to follow the pathing that I am showing you up this particular set of stairs on the left side and go into one of the corners where you see a bunch of books, but again, another chest that you can open up. Inside of this chest is going to be a brand new axe called Cinder Dragon Coil. It's an interesting looking axe. It looks more like a torch than anything else. Continuing towards the end of the third region, you want to progress until you come across Fairy Overlook, which is an optional location after you defeat technically the main boss inside of the third region. You want to run past a storyteller that is in your way in front of a giant cave. You want to progress through the giant cave until you come across this fast travel point. Now, Fairy Overlook is a very peaceful area, and this is actually going to be tied to a side quest where you have to go and find a secret note throughout the game that will then allow you to interact with this particular NPC, who will then later drop an item for you after you have interacted with him at Fairy Overlook. You'll have had to interact with him at every other point up to Fairy Overlook, just like the normal NPC quest lines. Once you do this and you give him the secret letter of the Zhanlu Antechamber and you interact with him at Fairy Overlook, reload the area and he's going to drop the Serpent Fang. The Serpent Fang is going to be another unique longsword, and you don't really come across a lot of longswords inside of this game, but it is going to be a little bit of a different one compared to some of the other ones that you can find, and of course this is locked behind a quest line, making it very difficult to get in one playthrough. Staying in the Fairy Overlook, this is going to be another weapon that you have to go and complete something else beforehand. What you want to do in the Fairy Overlook, you want to go and talk to the boatman and then interact with the boat in front of the boatman. That will bring you over to the Rivulet area and Mansion area. These are optional locations. This is not part of the main quest to actually get through the entire game, so you can easily miss these locations. Once again, just make sure you interact with the boat to get to these locations and areas, defeat the main boss that is inside of the mansion area that will then unlock the Rivulet area, and then return back to Fairy Overlook. Once you are back at Fairy Overlook after you have defeated the boss in the Rivulet area, you want to go back and interact with the boatman once again. Continue through his entire dialogue and he will eventually give you this particular axe. This is going to be the axe labeled Li Zhao's Fang. It's a very interesting axe and it has a bit of an expensive, unique attack, but it's definitely worth it if you like to use axes, or at least I think so. You guys tell me down in the comments. Next, we're going to move into the fourth region of the game, which will be Worship's Rise in Ruin. You want to progress the game until you come across the Shoe Sanctum. This is going to be your closest fast travel point. This is going to be another weapon that is locked behind doing an NPC's quest line all the way into this fourth region. Is going to be Nian Shuchang. I bet I'm butchering his name, but he's going to be the guy that has a very large straw hat every time you interact with him. You have to do all of his interactions throughout the game, and usually he's very easy to find, but that's an entirely different video. Let's just say, for the sake of this particular video of getting his particular weapon, you have completed all 13 of the locations to actually interact with him. From the Shoe Sanctum, you want to follow the pathing that I'm showing you up to the top of the mountainside that you can go and explore back in Worship's Rise for something else entirely different, like a red-eyed enemy. Once you get up here, you can interact with this particular NPC. You'll see that he is very upset, or depending on what you do interaction-wise, he may be a red-eyed enemy. Either way, you need to go and either defeat him as the red-eyed enemy or interact with him, as you see in my game, where he is sad and on the edge of a cliff. Exhaust all of his dialogue, reload the area by resting at one of the fast travel points, and then come back to this cliffside. You should see in the location that he was a very interesting looking item. That interesting looking item should be his entire outfit and the Zhanlu one-handed sword. It is unfortunate that you have to go all the way to the end of the game pretty much to get this unique one-handed sword. I've seen a lot of people really enjoy using this one, but this is the stats for this particular unique one-handed sword in case you are looking for it. The next weapon that we can get inside of this 4th region of the game is very close by to where we just were on the cliff side. So from the Sanctum, follow my pathing once again and over to the mountainside cliffs, where instead of going up the mountain, you actually want to go to the right and follow the pathing all the way back down into the valley. Once you get down here, you're going to see a small shack with a bunch of pots. Be warned, there is going to be an enemy that is going to explode the pots when you get close by, but when the pots explode, you're going to see another chest that you can open up that's going to have this axe inside. Here are the stats for that Scorn Greataxe that you can find inside of that box. Next is going to be a very unique one that we have to go through, another full quest line. This one is actually going to be related to the White-Robed Elder. This is an entirely different quest line, obviously, that's going to take the entire game to complete, but just know for this video, you have to complete that entire quest line, defeat the White-Robed Elder at the Doom in that boss fight, which will only be available if you complete his quest line and make it to the 5th region of the game. Once you have done that, he will drop an item that allows you to upgrade one of the 2 different shops inside of the game. That item is going to be the Shoe Army board. You need to go and interact with Tao King and over the Shoe Army board, and inside of his shop you'll be able to purchase a unique spear. That unique spear is going to be the same spear that the White-Robed Elder has used throughout the entire game. Here are the stats for it in case you don't want to go through the entire questline just to get this particular spear. Now finally, as soon as you complete the game, you have defeated the final boss but not interacted with the final gate to progress to the very ending of the game, you are going to have been given the final weapon of the entire game, because as soon as you defeat the final boss of the game, you are given this one-handed sword. It is a very unique looking one-handed sword. Obviously, here are the stats for it in case you want to use it in your next playthrough, because obviously you're going to get this at the very end of the playthrough that you're going through, so why not use it in the next playthrough? Now that is every single weapon that you can get inside of Wuchang Fallen Feathers. Obviously, there are a lot of different weapons that are locked behind NPC quest lines. You have to get to the very end of the game to get the final weapon of the game, and when you do get all of these weapons in one playthrough, you do get an achievement or trophy depending on what system that you're on, but again, it is going to take you the entire game to complete this. I hope you guys did find this walkthrough guide helpful. If you did, make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons for me down below so I know that you did find this guide helpful, and I'll catch you in the next video.